Hello everybody, George12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for Arrow Season 4, Episode 5, titled Haunted. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the Haunted episode. I guess this was supposed to be the Halloween episode that we never really got, so that's pretty much what I'm going on a limb here. But essentially, spoilers, major spoilers. Constantine is back! Yay! Constantine! You know that NBC show that they had zero faith in and completely canceled before it got a full season and, of course, a second season? Yeah, that guy's back. Now, first off, let me put it out there. This was the episode I was waiting for. I've been waiting all season for this episode. That might sound fucked up to a lot of hardcore Arrow fans, but it's true. I mean, after the hatred and dishonesty and just betrayal of Season 3 of Arrow, I had zero interest in Season 4. I saw it as like The Walking Dead, just like, oh, another season? Fuck it, I don't really care. That's how I looked at it. But when I saw that trailer and I saw Constantine on the show, I fell in love because I was actually a pretty big fan of the NBC show Constantine. I thought it had promise and it had amazing performances. It was a good insight into the mystical side of the DC universe, the darker, more non-superhero-esque side of the DC universe, and I like that. And Matt Ryan's performance as the fucking Hellblazer, John Constantine, was phenomenal. It was so great. It was just, he embodied the just overall personification of John Constantine. He did that. He was amazing. And the fact that it was canceled really, really was terrible. It was just a horrible, like, shot to the fucking face. And even though I'm publicly admitting I like the show, I will admit it wasn't a perfect show by any means. I mean, out of the many comic book shows of last year, it definitely doesn't take the cake. It doesn't take the whole enchilada, of course. However, it was a good, decent show that definitely did not deserve to get fucked over by NBC. They obviously had zero faith in it, and they completely just, watered it down and just said, like, you know what, fuck it, we don't even care about this. We have other shit to worry about. We have to cancel Hannibal. That's what we really want to do, so we're gonna focus on that instead of focusing on this other thing. So it's a very unfortunate thing that happened. It's a true thing, but it's a sad thing at the same time. However, the great thing about the CW is that they decided to recycle that show, bring in Matt Ryan, and bring him into the CW DC universe, which I feel was an amazing move on their part, and it was an amazing win for us fans who wanted more Constantine. However, the big overall question and hesitation I had for this episode, as much as I was looking forward to it, the big thing that I was really adamant about was the fact that how are you going to introduce that character into this universe? Because the realities are, even with the advent of CW's The Flash and metahumans and all that stuff, the core element of what Arrow was a grounded, realistic, basically a Chris Nolan-y kind of Green Arrow-verse. That was kind of like what they did. But because of the success of Flash and because of how god-awful Season 3 was, Arrow has been, opening their eyes to being like, you know what, maybe we can be a little bit more lighthearted, maybe we can be more fun, maybe we can have other characters of the DC Universe that don't specifically have to be a Batman ripoff. That's kind of like what they've been doing. And as much as I admire that, it's just kind of weird the fact that you have this pre-existing formula and you're just breaking that just because you want to have all these other characters come into the show. I just felt it was kind of odd and weird, and I just don't get it. How are you gonna justify this character coming in? Because I don't care what CW says, I don't care what Stephen Amell says in his Facebook Q&As or whatever the fuck. NBC's Constantine is not a part of the freaking CW verse. It was never supposed to be a part. I mean, yeah, they joked about it here and there, but that was mostly because Stephen Amell and Matt Ryan are friends. That's pretty much it. But beyond that, they had no intentions of crossing over. So that was my big question, was how are they going to bring into this character in a great way, and how are you going to make it make sense? That was kind of just my overall question. I'm sorry I took 5 minutes of your time saying that one question, but that's pretty much all I had. And to my surprise, this episode was the most bullshit episode I ever saw, but it was the most bullshit episode I ever saw in a good way. And I mostly say that because Matt Ryan is just fucking destroying it. He is so good, and I liked how they introduced him in the flashbacks. Of course it makes no sense. Of course, why is Constantine on the island? How did he get there? How is he able to just leave and like go and leave whenever he wants? Of course it makes no sense. It's stupid. However, you don't care because it's Matt Ryan. You're like, holy shit, yeah, Constantine, yay! I want to fucking, put on my jacket and smoke a cigarette. I mean, I quit smoking, but you get what I mean. And it's just awesome to see that kind of stuff. And of course, the other real cool thing about the episode is that it's also, at least in my subjective opinion, the most simplest story, which is just, Sarah is obviously broken. Constantine has to come in, fix her up, and then that's it. That's the overall, plot of the story, and it's the simplest. And I feel like kudos for CW for making a very simple episode and simplifying the fact of how you can get this character and that whole mystical universe into this. And I liked how they tied it in with Damien Dark, and even though the flashbacks were stupid and didn't make any sense, it was cool just to see him there, and it was just overall nice. But that being said, this episode is, I can't hide from the fact that this episode is very disjointed. There was a lot of conflicting storylines. It just felt like the writers of this episode were having a hard time to just not stick with the simple story of just Constantine coming over and just helping out Sarah and then leaving. They wanted to overcrowd the story and make it a little too overly difficult for them to execute. Like you have this, subplot of like Sarah versus Thea, then you have this other subplot of Oliver versus Laurel, because let's face it, Laurel is an idiot. She fucks up everything because she's the main reason as to why Sarah is out. I mean, like, I'm just saying, the fact that Laurel is still part of Team Green Arrow, if you will, and hasn't been fired, Oliver should be punched in the head. I'm just saying, like, she's fucked up so much, she should be fired from superhero-dom. I'm just saying. I mean, like, the Green Arrow from the comic books would have bitch-slapped that motherfucker. I mean, granted, it's CW and, hitting women. You don't want to do that. I get it, but metaphorically, at least. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, in the comic books, when he saw Speedy doing drugs, he beat the shit out of the kid. And he was a kid. And that was a comic book. I'm just saying. This is a TV show. And it just, come on, she's fucking up too much. You need to fire her already. But anyways, that being said, there was just a lot of things that were just weird. You just have too many going on. There's just too many characters to have their own productive subplots that it's hard to just stay on one point and then you have to go to here. Then you have to be over here. Then you have to go over here. Then you have to, there's just too much. You have, Sarah trying to find Thea. She's killing people. She gets away too easily. Which is another fact I wanted to point out, which is, does anybody find it kind of weird how easily villains escape from the heroes in this show? I'm just saying, like, I think Sarah escaped from Team Green Arrow, like, a handful of times. Like, I want to say, like, 5 times she escaped. I'm just saying, like, it's okay if, like the first time, like, you have that moment where Oliver's just discovering, that, oh my god, Sarah's back? I get that, the fucking, the scanner moment happens and your head explodes. I get that, but other times it's just like, are you purposely letting her leave? And when did Sarah become a cat? When did she become Catwoman? Because she's leaping and jumping, like, super fast and quickly, and, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't remember Sarah being, like, that. I'm just saying, is it the Lazarus Pit thing? It's like the second you dive into the Lazarus Pit, you have, super jumping abilities where you can just jump out, in and out of windows super easily? I don't know. Anyways, but that being said, there's just way too much going on. I feel like this episode suffered from having too much going on. I feel like they should have just simplified it to the core element of the story, which was John Constantine coming to town, Oliver needing help from him to restore Sarah's soul, and they just made it too difficult. This is the return of Matt Ryan as John Constantine. This is, one of the main reasons as to why a lot of us came back for Arrow Season 4. Especially me. So why'd you overcomplicate things with having Diggle trying to find out Hive and teaming up with Lance, which was weird. And then you have Thea and Sarah, then Laurel and Oliver, and then you have that creepy fucking, assistant of Oliver's who's trying to create rifts for some odd reason. I don't know. Like, there's just way too much shit going down. Like, and then you have the flashbacks, which is like, okay, what was that whole, I don't know. It's just too much going on. You had too much going on, and your episode suffered from it. So that's really all I can really say about it. I know it sounds like I'm bashing this episode, but it's just, and I always feel like whenever a viewer like watches one of my error reviews, like a random one, I always feel like it seems like all I'm doing is bashing this show. And that's not true. I'm not bashing the show. I'm just pointing out the flaws of the show, because it's not because I want to, it's because it's too easy. It's just that they're not trying. And that's what's so prevalent with this season. They're not trying. It's just, I don't know. It's a weird. At this point in time, I have a very love-hate relationship with Arrow. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes it's just like, what are you doing? You fucked up there. You fucked up too much. I'm just going out on a limb here and just putting myself out there. I just have a love-hate relationship with Arrow. That's all I can really say. But that being said, my final verdict has to be a 7 out of 10. It's definitely above average, and the only real reason it is above average is mostly due to the fact of Matt Ryan's performance. He freaking destroyed. He was funny. He was sarcastic. I loved how he just was fucking around with Oliver. I love Felicity's line when she meets Constantine for the first time. I thought it was so hilarious where it's like Diggle comments on it. It's just like, where the hell did Oliver find this guy? And then Felicity's just sarcastically is like, at least it's not a woman this time, which I thought was hilarious because it's true. Like, every freaking character from Oliver's past is always a super hot chick. With the exception of Deathstroke. But besides him, it's always a super hot chick. I don't get it. It's just, I don't know. Whatever. The point is that I just like that. It's just Matt Ryan made this episode better. It was cooler. It was funnier. It was just, having him in there was just great. It was a great pleasure to see him again. And the other thing I really liked about him coming into the show is that it really opens the idea of him possibly coming back and being a part of the show full time, because when there obviously comes to a certain point in the episode where he has to leave, obviously, he can't stay around forever because, whatever, fucking continuity errors or freaking deal plans or whatever the fuck, Matt Ryan obviously has like a dozen other things to do, but, it opens up the idea of like, okay, we freaking, you helped me, I helped you, now we're even. But you know what, if you ever need me, I'll be back, and I'll always be there to help you out. So that's kind of like the cool thing about how the CW just introduced this character. Of course, the flashbacks made no sense, but who gives a shit at the end of the day? It's a freaking comic book TV show. But, the cool thing about that is that it just opens up the idea of, like, this character can come back again if he wants to. And I like that idea. I mean, granted, I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like it really depends on the success and how fans react to this episode and how they have their words out. I just feel like if you make your words heard to the CW, I feel like the character could come back, but I get some kind of feeling inside of me that I don't really see it happening anytime soon. Maybe for the second half of the season he might come back, because obviously, 23 episodes, they're obviously not completely done doing everything. However, even if this is a one-time deal kind of thing, I just thought it was awesome. Matt Ryan was just the best part of this episode. He was the funnest. He was just great. It was a pleasure to see him again, and it really did two things with this. This episode did two really good things. They highlighted, number one, they highlighted how good Matt Ryan is as an actor and how he just performs as the character of John Constantine, how good he is as the character that, the Hellblazer, John Constantine. But the second thing that it highlighted was the sad, depressing fact that we're not going to be able to see that character again for a long time. So it really sucks. It just really highlights that he's just so good, but we just might never ever see him again. So all I can really say is that hopefully one day, whenever there's like the Justice League Dark movie, or just put in Matt Ryan. He's just awesome, and hopefully CW uses him again for maybe the second half of the season, or maybe like a season 5 or something. I don't know, but it was just cool to see him. Everything else was kind of whatever to me. I liked Felicity's comments. I also really liked how she figured out Ray Palmer's still alive. That was really cool. Obviously, that's going to be a major plot device for next week's episode, which I can't wait to see because, Brandon Routh is awesome. But other than that, everything else is kind of whatever. Laurel, I feel like she just gets dumber and dumber. She just needs to be fired by now. I don't know. Thea, I know this makes me sound like a sick bastard, but is it because I really wanted her to die? I don't know. I'm sorry I said that in public, but I just kind of did. I really wanted Sarah just to kill her. I really did. I know, I'm a sick bastard, but I just kind of really wanted that to happen, and everything else, like the Diggle parts, kind of whatever, Sarah, like, just being able to escape too easily was a little weird, but overall, the Matt Ryan stuff saved the show. He was the Superman of the show. He came in, he swooped in, saved everybody. It was up and away for him. It was just awesome. But that being said, final verdict is a 7 out of 10. It's a good above average episode, but it's only because of Matt Ryan. I feel like if you took Matt Ryan out of the equation, this episode would have just been meh. But because Matt Ryan's in it, it's like, yay! So, that's all I really can say. Overall, comment below. Let me know what you personally think about this episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your personal thoughts on Matt Ryan coming back, reprising his role as John Constantine? Do you want to see more? Would you like him to be in the Justice League Dark movie that may or may not be a part of the DC Extended Universe? Do you ever think there will be a Season 2 to Constantine? Probably not, but at least we got to see him on Arrow. And of course, your personal speculations for next week's episode when we get to see the return of Brandon Routh, the Atom. Is he dead? Is he alive? We're obviously going to find out, in freaking next week's episode. Obviously, he's tiny, and he's probably stuck in a bottle, freaking Damien Dark style. Fucking, I don't know, I don't know why, but it kind of reminded me of Brainiac when he was, like, stuck in the tiny, I don't know. There's a lot of weird references there, but I don't want to get into it. That being said, comment below. Let me know what you personally think. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JoshK12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been JoshK12.